So there's this creator on TikTok who makes LGBTQ content who was cyberbullied so hard that law enforcement had to get involved. So basically the police came to his house and they were like, you should probably stop making videos, otherwise you're probably going to be endangering yourself and possibly even your family members. Let's just take a minute to think about that. He got bullied so hard that he had to call the police. And like, to be honest, I had no idea who this creator was until I saw other people stitching his content and just being bullies. They were just being hateful and I was like, okay, what is going on? Did I miss something? So let's break it down together. The creator's name is Mole. He also goes by fuzzz99 and his content is mostly about his experience being queer and his experience being gay. His overall style is very energetic and it's very chaotic, but ultimately meant to be wholesome. Like, think about like Steven Universe or maybe like early 2010s BuzzFeed, Tobuscus, Annoying Orange, Fred, like that kind of content. Here, I'll just show you.
Because we are a family, and it doesn't seem like the haters are going anywhere. And every family has its annoying siblings. We are gonna welcome the haters to our fuzzball family as our annoying little siblings and fight them with love.
Obviously, this is not necessarily going to resonate with everybody. Personally, it's not my cup of tea. But I do know that there are people out there who really like this kind of content. And you might be thinking like, oh, well, yeah, this guy might be a little cringy, but like, what's the big deal? On TikTok, I'm not really sure who started these allegations in the first place, but it just caught like wildfire. And those allegations were he is a groomer, he is a pedophile, and he wants to touch children. And people came to this conclusion because of his tone of voice in his videos and because he is a substitute teacher, he is also a camp counselor, and he is also friends with a high schooler despite being 26. And like, to be honest, when I first heard of these allegations, I was like, whoa, like what is going on with this person? Oh, it's a good thing that people are holding them accountable, until I realized that it was just an excuse to spew hate. He never once explicitly stated that his content was made for kids. He just said, oh, anybody who is interested in the LGBTQ community is always welcome to watch my videos. And like, I do understand why people are like, oh, that's obviously made for kids, you know? Like, it's what kind of adult would want to watch that? But there are adults who genuinely like this kind of content. They are very, reminiscent of the early 2010s BuzzFeed quirky millennial humor. Like, they like it, and that's fine. Just because it's not your preference, just because it's not my preference, doesn't mean that it's made for an entirely different age group. I mean, we can't just blindly assume that. And people called him a groomer for having a friend in high school, despite being 26. And it was actually revealed that the friend was his cousin. And I know that grooming and assault can happen in a family, between family members, but there's no evidence of him grooming his younger cousin. There's like absolutely nothing. People are connecting the dots in the way that suits their narrative, so they have a reason to hate on this person. Like, you can't just call someone a groomer or a pedophile without having some sort of evidence. Being called a groomer or a pedo is a pretty big allegation, so you need to have some sort of evidence to back it up. You can't just be like, oh, well, his vibes are off, he must be a pedo. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. And this just might be my personal opinion, but because the word groomer is so casual nowadays, like people are just throwing it around willy-nilly, I feel like, the less it's taken seriously, and that ultimately hurts victims of grooming. It kind of reminds me of the boy who cried wolf. He died. But seriously, the hate is everywhere. People are hating on him left and right. On TikTok, I saw maybe like 5 people defending him and hundreds of videos accusing him of being a predator or just cringing at him, telling him to shut up. There was also this person who said,
I somehow think making this person watch an ISIS beheading video would make them more normal.
Like, when I first saw that video, I was like, did I hear that right? Like, did you really say, like, did those words come out of your mouth? Like, for real? What's wrong with you? And it's not just limited to TikTok. If you search on YouTube or Reddit or Instagram, you will see hate posts. You will see hate messages and hate comments. It's just so much hate, literally everywhere. And one thing that really pisses me off is the fact that people have been misgendering Mole on purpose. Just because you don't like somebody doesn't give you the right to misgender them. Like, look at this comment. I was like, oh my god, you are being so hateful and you are being smug about it. I was just like, oh my god, the transphobia. And people are also using very irrelevant things to target him. Like, for example, take this comment. According to this person, a 26-year-old can't have colorful friendship bracelets, otherwise they are a groomer. What? And you don't have to like his content. You can think he's cringe. That's fine. But sending hate messages and sending death threats to somebody just because you think they're annoying is way out of line. And in the beginning, he was getting a lot of valid criticism, but all of that is getting drowned out by baseless accusations and just hate. I think the main reason why he got so much criticism in the first place was because, well, number one, his tone of voice is not necessarily for everybody, and that's okay. And number two was that his content was a little inconsistent. For example, there is a video skit of him at an arcade and he's waiting in line and it's like, oh no, like adults can't play, and it's very PG. It's very, it could be for the younger audience. And then you have a video of him explaining what a top and a bottom is, or mentioning a top and a bottom, and that is probably PG-13 and up, possibly 18 plus. So there was a little bit of inconsistency, and I think that's why people have criticized, but once again, it's kind of stretching at this point. Like, it's social media. And they also got a lot of criticism for this one particular video where they say, nobody wants to be straight. And I get it, some people might have been offended, but then again, it is a joke. But you know what? If it's offensive, it's offensive. But then again, people took it a little bit too far by being homophobic.
Coming from someone who's a part of the LGBTQ plus community, you make me homophobic.
Like, just don't do that. And this is a pretty good example of mob mentality, or hive mentality, or whatever you want to call it. And mob mentality is the inclination that some humans have to be part of a large group, often neglecting their individual feelings in the process and adopting the behaviors and actions of the people around them. And the feeling of belonging to a large group was to hate on this person. And I feel like it kind of became a trend at some point, which is really fucked up in its own way. And people were eating this up. Like, they loved this. If you don't like someone's content and you don't want to see it anymore, that's fine. Your opinion is completely valid. Just block them, swipe up, and go about your day. Don't spread hate. It's not that hard. So for example, I personally don't resonate with Maul's content, nor do I resonate with his delivery, and that's fine. But you know what I did when I first saw his videos? I swiped. And with this whole thing, it makes me feel that people are against bullying until it serves them. Like, bullying is horrible until you become the bully and you start having fun. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. Bullying is unacceptable, period. And somebody mentioned that Maul is actually a very new gay. He only came out, I think it was like 2 years ago or something. So he's still trying to gain footing. He's trying to understand himself, trying to figure himself out. And TikTok was a way for him to kind of share his journey with the rest of the world. I do think that ultimately he was trying to be wholesome and helpful. And while there were, and still are, valid criticisms to his content, people took it way too far by doxing him, by harassing him, stalking him, sending death threats, and endangering his life. And Maul's final video to TikTok is actually really sad. Just take a look.
I really hate to come on here to make this video, and I really don't want to, because I know that a lot of you out there still really enjoy and like my videos, and they make your day and they make you smile, and that's all I've ever wanted in life. Unfortunately, this morning, I had a really bad incident with a hater and had to get the police involved. A lot of people in my life know my current situation right now, and I wish I could talk about it more, but I don't want to and can't really get into it. but I currently am being advised by the police to take a step back from TikTok. I have to take a break for a little while until a lot of this hate calms down. It might be a week, it might be a month, it might be a year, it might be forever. One, I've never once said that my content is for kids or that my intent has been to make content for kids. I make my content to be family friendly and wholesome because that's who I am, and I want to be inclusive to everyone out there. And I want people to know that this is a safe place where they can ask any question they want and they won't get judged. Secondly, I never said I hate straight people. I literally said, like, who would want to be straight? Blech. And as a gay person who grew up thinking they had to be straight, who never saw 1 ounce of any kind of LGBTQ representation in any media, who hated themselves when they realized they were gay, and wished and prayed that they weren't, and then almost took their fucking life, and then after a long time eventually learned and accepted that it was okay to be gay and that you can love who you want to love. Yeah, I would never want to go back to being straight or ever be straight. And a lot of gay people who I make these videos for and who have gone through the same exact things feel the exact same fucking way. So I'm sorry to all the straight people who I offended, but y'all need to realize that the straights have not been kind to us, and I would not give up loving the person I love for anything in this world.
Is he perfect? No. Could he have done some things better? Sure. But did he deserve this? Absolutely not. I think that we all need to take a step back and think about how our actions and words affects others. Because some people might think of Mole as just this annoying creator, but like, they're an actual person with thoughts and feelings, and no human being deserves to go through the hate that they went through. And not to get like super symbolic or anything, but I think that this showcased the horrors of how we can be as human beings. And I genuinely hope that we'll all be able to kind of reflect on the situation and move forward to be less hateful and more mindful of what we say and how we say it. I genuinely feel for Mal, and I hope that he's taking care of his mental health because, oh boy. Also, let me know what you guys think of this whole situation, because I mean, maybe I'm missing something, maybe there's a perspective I'm not seeing. I don't know. I just don't think that anybody deserves this kind of hate. So yeah. Anyways, that is all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I'm gonna go. Horrible intro. Outro. This is an outro. Okay, I need to stop talking. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.